Delta Corp, Hardik Devar, CFO of the company, join us right now in the studio to talk about the quarter and the outlook ahead, more importantly. Hardik, a bit of a mixed bag the first half for you, purely in terms of the headline numbers, because the second quarter hasn't really been particularly impressive. Is this essentially due to how the real estate business has been? Because I believe that the gaming business has been fairly all right.
Morning. While you're right in a way that the numbers have not been comparable to what they were last year, but one has to appreciate the fact that, real estate is a business where the sales are always lumpy and you cannot expect to have 150, 200, 300 crores of sales coming in quarter on quarter. Delta has been focusing, and the core business has been gaming and hospitality. And if you see the performance on the gaming sector and the gaming sector per se, we have done exceedingly well. We have done over 50% in terms of growth compared to last year, as well as compared to the, if you look at the previous quarters as well, we have done a sizable growth. So I think from that perspective, I think we are on track. Our focus is very clear and we know where the growth is going to come from for the next 24, 36 months. And I guess that's largely in line. Again, if you look at the annual pattern, the annual pattern will more or less pan out in terms of the numbers coming out more or less in line with last year, as we had said last year as well, that it is this year onwards that Kenya starts contributing. And we've already recognized certain committed amounts as revenue in our books. And once the final agreements are signed, which will happen during this quarter and next quarter, for the full financial year, I don't think there will be a huge impact that will be seen in terms of numbers. So we'll probably surpass the expectations that people have from us.
So you will be able to realize revenues, Hardik, is that what you're saying for the Kenya property this financial year itself?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we've already been on record saying that we have sold one entire building to the World Bank in October. We have got into the agreement, so we haven't been able to recognize the full impact of that in the second quarter. We'll obviously try and see if we work out all the formalities and nitty-gritties. We'll obviously be able to capture that income in the third quarter, or definitely within this financial year. In addition to that, there have been two more properties which have been contracted for, and those revenues also we would be in a position to we'll have more clarity during the next 6 months, and that should add up to the kitty.
So what's the size of sale and the quantum of money raised through these deals that you're talking about in Kenya? The
World Bank deal has been a $23 million deal, which we've already gone on record. The other two deals that we are talking of are in the similar size deals. So we would definitely see a huge contribution coming from Kenya. And gaming, we are very, very bullish on the gaming sector per se, and we believe and we continue to believe that that's the sector that's going to give us the growth, which we have demonstrated over the 12 months and over the last quarter as well. So I think on the whole, we are on right track.
Hardik, we'll talk about the business in just a bit. Just a couple of updates firstly. One is the kind of debt that you're sitting on, and is there a definitive game plan to offload a particular chunk of debt by the end of the current fiscal?
Let's look at the debt in two forms. One is the standalone debt on Delta Corp, which is a very, very unlevered company. There is no debt on the standalone company as such. The debt that you see on the consolidated basis is most of the debt is on account of the real estate business in Kenya. This is more like a self-liquidating debt, so the construction finance and debt associated with the project. So once the project realizations happen, obviously a lot of cash flow gets released and the debt gets repaid. So on the whole, on a consolidated basis also, we believe that the debt levels are going to be considerably favorable by the end of the year, and we'll have a very, very strong overall balance sheet.
Okay, so two-part question really. One, can you put a number to that? And two, the reason why I asked you that particular question is because there's a strong talk of some bit of a private placement or a stake sale in Delta Corp. Would you rule that out completely over the next 6 months?
To your channel itself, I have clarified that we are not in talks of any stake sale of any nature to anybody. So there is no question of a stake sale. Growth and augmentation for future is always something that every promoter and every management is on the lookout for, which we will always keep our eyes open on.
Hardik, also give us a sense of how the integration is panning out with Thunderbird Casinos.
There is no question of any integration because ultimately it's a Delta company now, and the control and management rests with Delta. We are the controlling entity there. We have taken over the project about 3-4 months back in real sense of the term. We have remobilized the whole thing now, and we are hopeful that soon we'll be able to have some announcements coming forth as far as the launch of that property is concerned.
Okay. So Hardik, just to put some numbers out here, you did mention that the growth would be lumpy for real estate. How much balanced square feet per se you have saleable over the next 2 quarters, and any ballpark estimates of what kind of revenues would you book in the real estate division for Q3 and Q4, because that have a bearing on how your overall headline numbers appear?
It will be, as I said, it will be more or less similar to what we did last year. So, you could take an estimate out of it. It will be very difficult for me at this point of time to give you the exact rupee ana paisa amounts, but we'll be more or less in line with what we did last year in terms of real estate. In terms of gaming, I think we have demonstrated considerably well, and we'll continue to demonstrate in the same fashion, and we'll be probably taking same kind of leaps for the current year as well.
Hardik, let's talk about the gaming business, considering that's where you're most bullish on right now. What are the revenues that you incurred this quarter garnered from all 3 properties, and what really is the visibility going forward? I mean, how many folds are you going to grow when it comes to your gaming business?
As you're right, it is not from the 3 properties that we have been getting the revenues. The 3rd property is yet to commence operations, and we are expecting that property will kick in, which is over and above Daman, and we are only talking Goa at this point of time. So the 3rd property in Goa would come in only in the first quarter end, or the second financial year next financial year. With regards to Daman, we hope that we will start contributing from the gaming in the next financial year again. So that should add considerable gaming revenues. With regards to the current year, we have had 2 properties which have been operational. One is the Casino Royale, which has been operational for the last 3 years and has been doing considerably well. The second property was the erstwhile Caravella, or the Casino Goa as it was called, and now it's called the Casino Prime, which has started really contributing from this quarter onwards. So, we'll see considerable amount of revenue coming in from that property as well, which should add up the numbers. And also, one has to see that if you look at the overall numbers, there has been certain kind of expenses in terms of marketing and promotion that we undertook. And we've got a hit in this 1 quarter itself, which, is not something which we are looking to cash in on immediately, but it's a long-term to medium-term sort of an investment we look at, which we believe that ultimately will pay off in the long run.
Okay.